Hello, everyone. It's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland Reviewer, and welcome to Lost in the Wasteland, my weekly show where I have a guest come on each week to talk about their perspective on movies. And this week, I have Frank from Twitter and also SiftPop here to chat about some movies. How's it going, Frank?
It's going good. I'm real.
Yes, as we can see, Frank is here. And so let Frank introduce himself a little bit, talk about any of the kinds of things that he does, movie related or other things that he would like to shamelessly plug here on the show.
I actually wish I had stuff to plug outside of, I guess, SiftPop. I really have a whole lot of nothing going for me. I just enjoy talking about movies. I tweet a lot, and I like to push the boundaries over at SiftPop.
You know what's funny is I was recording with Aaron last week and I mentioned that you were going to come on this week. He's like, you might have to do some editing. I'm like, these videos aren't made for children. We're fine. So we're going to see how this goes. But I'm really happy to have you on the show and it's time to talk about some movies. So depending on what kind of movie fan you are, usually this question is either somebody like easy answer or hates this question. But Frank, what's your favorite film?
I I've been thinking about this question all day, and I hate this question because I need something more specific. Like, what's your favorite sci-fi? I'll be able to say like Back to the Future.
Okay.
Or, like, what's your favorite comedy? I will say Back to the Future. Okay, I think it's Back to the Future.
There we go.
It's my solid go-to all-around movie, but there are a lot of times when like depends on what mood I'm in, like what are we talking about. But Back to the Future is a movie that I know I can never get tired of. So
Mhm.
I guess I gotta say Back to the Future.
That film definitely has the watchability to make it a classic that like you could just pop that on any time and just enjoy it. And whether it's Marty or Doc or Biff, make like a tree, get out of here. I remember seeing the what would have that have been? I maybe 30th anniversary. They had it in theaters, and when I showed up to the Cinemark, a guy was walking in with his skateboard,
Oh,
his radio, and that vest, and I'm like, this guy came to play today. So,
oh,
but
that's awesome.
it's funny that you're like, what's your favorite sci-fi? Back to the Future. Favorite comedy? Back to the Future. It has so much going for it. It's such a fun movie.
Yeah, that movie is very much ahead of its time. And do you watch Netflix a lot?
A decent
Like
amount, yeah.
they just put out another season of the movies that made us.
Yes.
And I watched it and like I felt a little bad because they did one on Back to the Future, and I practically knew everything. But then they talked about this one shot in the movie, and it's a shot that I've never liked,
Mhm.
but I didn't want to admit because of how much I love the movie. But then they start talking about that exact shot, and the reason why it looks the way it does is because they moved the release date up, and they had just had to let it go. And it's Marty looking at his hand disappear, and like I've always hated how cheesy.
Oh, where it's just like looks like it could be somebody else's completely other hand and it's just
Yeah,
like fading away.
and, like they said that shot's they wish they could have redone it, done more to it, but because of them changing the date, that had to go. And I feel a little better knowing that they don't like that shot either.
It's just like, okay, I understand now. I don't get irrationally angry as much watching the movie anymore. But I'm a huge fan of that show. Because the first season, what had Home Alone, it had Ghostbusters, and like those kinds of things are great. I started watching the Jurassic Park episode
Yeah,
first.
that's the next one up for me. I'm excited for.
Yep.
But
All the CGI, like still looking better than like any movie that came out like 10 years after it.
yeah, like that's what happens when you care and you try about a project. It can hold up, and like it's timeless. It like you got it right.
It's like The thing I was thinking about is like this came out in '93. When did the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie come out? And all I could think of is giant Ivan Ooze, like CGI. I'm like, no.
I think that was a case where they accidentally put the previs in the final movie.
That and Mortal Kombat Annihilation, because God, how did they put that in the final movie? But it is what it is. Maybe they moved up their movie like 5 months, and they're
Yeah,
like, well, first rendered, there you go.
yeah, exactly. They had heart. That's all that mattered.
Yeah. Now, Frank, what's your earliest memory of going to the movies?
The first movie, I'm pretty sure it's the first one I went to, but it's Rockadoodle.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like growing up, like my dad was, he lived down the country. He was a trucker. We didn't go out to the movies a lot, so
Mhm.
most of my movie experience was always on VHS. So whenever we did go, it was like a big event thing for me. And my earliest is like Rockadoodle and Free Willy.
The Michael Jackson music. All the Michael Jackson music for Free Willy. Oh man, and I watched Rockadoodle, An American Tail, um, Troll in Central Park. All of those those animated movies that 100% were definitely not Disney in like the late '80s, early '90s.
Yeah,
So
I
much.
remember growing up, I used to watch like All Dogs Go to Heaven a lot.
Yep, another one.
Uh, it was
And
like the movie
then
that just stand out in my childhood for me. That you tell me right now what they're about, and I know minimal about it.
oh, I can't even remember last time I watched Rockadoodle.
Like I'm afraid to go back and revisit it. It's like I'm just gonna let that memory stand in my childhood as something fondly.
Unless you agree to do the nostalgia pick episode for SiftPop, and Aaron will be like, "We're going to talk about Rockadoodle," and it's just like, "Oh no!"
That would be the only way.
The only way somebody's convincing me to watch this again.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want to ruin it.
Although I could just show it to my kids, but I don't want to risk that either.
They could watch their own childhood movies that they don't want to watch ever again as an adult to ruin. So it could
That would
start.
probably be the Trolls movie then.
Oh, they got Anna Kendrick and JT. All the jams. Frank, do you have a particular favorite genre of movies?
That again, like I love all kinds of movies.
It's fair.
Um, Tim, like growing up, I would always say like comedy is what I always would lean towards, especially as a kid. Like if it wasn't like animated and was going to be like to me an adult movie where it's live action, it would have to be comedy. Like
Mhm.
other movies like Pelican Brief, all the court dramas, I want nothing to do with them. Like one summer I was out, on the truck with my dad and my mom, she went too, and we go to a movie theater, and the choices were Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and Apollo 13. Rangers it was. My parents, they went out to see Apollo 13. I refused to watch that movie for the longest time just because it's an adult movie. I'm not going to like it. I was a, I don't know about language on the show. I was about to just call myself shit.
You know what? We're adults here. It's okay.
I,
So,
I was like a crappy kid. Like all these movies now that I love, the movies
mhm.
that my parents watched when I was little, and I just wrote them all off. But genre, like even today, like I love a good comedy, and especially like nowadays, comedy gets really tricky, especially with what's acceptable, what's not acceptable,
Yeah.
and I don't know. To me, a lot of like when it comes to comedies, it's more about comedy of the time. It's like I don't think any comedy ever set out to make a statement. Like Ace Ventura just wanted to talk out of his butt, harmless. Then you get to the ending of that movie, and now you see today's one, like through today's vision, that's very problematic. But I still
Yep.
love that movie, and I loved it as a kid. I don't want to feel like a bad person for loving it.
That's why we just watch When Nature Calls instead. Because, uh, what's the most problematic thing? Him coming out of like the butt of a fake animal? Maybe the how they show indigenous people like Africa, but you know what? It's I
I
would
don't see the indigenous people complaining.
I would love to actually I don't know. I don't know if I want to finish that statement.
You
Do
might
I want
not.
to see another Ace Ventura? That's a tough thing because I'm like,
Oh, they did make a third one.
well, I mean with like actual
Carrie.
Jim Carrey in it and not
I,
him as a kid.
I'm gonna say no because we finally got a proper Dumb and Dumber sequel, and I enjoyed it in the theaters when I saw it. It was everything I expected it to be, but it just couldn't hit the same comedy classic as the first one.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny because like stuff like that, I've been just wanting an Austin Powers 4 for so long. And I'm like, do I really want that anymore?
No. I I hate with a passion that third one, and I love the first two. But then when that third one came out, it's like the movie knew it was popular, knew it had an audience, and it just played, tried to go to mainstream. And plus, I hate any movie that doesn't have a proper ending. Like,
They're all just like, we're friends now.
yeah, like it just ends. Oh, you were actually watching a movie, and then like, God, you ever see the movie Strange Wilderness?
I have not.
Adam Covert movie. They're trying to like look for Bigfoot or Sasquatch,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a movie I saw it in theaters, and I was actually enjoying it. I thought this is a good movie, but then it gets to the ending of it, and it doesn't even have an ending. It just turns into an outtake, and it's like, wow, this movie is garbage. Like,
Obviously, this is the most famous example of that. But I remember watching Monty Python and the Holy Grail for the first time and sitting waiting for like a good 3 minutes of sitting there being like, wait a minute, is this the actual end of the movie? And just being like, I'm so confused.
well, that movie also is British. It came out in what, the 70s.
Well, and the fact that it turned out that they were LARPing the whole time was absolutely hilarious. And then they all get arrested. I'm just like, what?
That movie did in a good way.
Oh my god. But I legitimately sat there for like 3 minutes listening to do and just like the black screen. I'm like, is this coming back? Is that it? Um,
Well, it's kind of like the ending of 50 Shades of Grey. Or, yeah, 50 Shades of Grey. Did you see that movie?
no.
I
I've seen 0 seconds of 50 Shades of Grey.
feel lucky, but I saw that in theaters.
Oh my.
And the ending of the first movie is like they look at each other, they say each other's names, the elevator door shuts, and just cuts to black. And it was just kind of like a jarring ending. And that was the only thing I enjoyed about the movie in theaters was it ended. And it's just before there's any credits, like a good 5 or 6 seconds of just black. And I just hear some guy in the back just yell out, "What the fuck?"
Oh, people's reactions at the movies. That's definitely one thing that I've missed. Now, Frank, do you have a particular favorite filmmaker?
Filmmaker, like, I don't know if I have a favorite, but I more have, like I said, I guess through phases of what I like.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like Spielberg, he's a classic that I admire. Um, One I'm gonna say I look up to that's gonna be maybe controversial. I can't talk today. Anyway, but one I greatly respect is Kevin Smith. And Grant, I may not like all his movies. I do enjoy a great portion of them. But what I
Yep.
like more is his tenacity on how he goes about making them. To where now, with this point in his career, he's just making movies he wants to make for him, for his audience. He keeps a small enough, funds a small enough budget to where he can just make whatever he wants. And I think that's any filmmaker's dream, is to just be able to, whatever you know you can make, go out, make it.
The fact that he can make yoga hosers says a lot.
I don't talk about that movie.
That's I feel like the definition of like I just wanted to make whatever the hell I wanted. And audiences were given this movie to watch. Don't know. Oh my god. When I watched that. And then
I feel like he went, you know what? I made Clerks. It became a cult movie. I think Yoga Hosers was his way of trying to intentionally make a cult movie. And you can't make a cult movie in the mindset of that's what you're making.
no, it doesn't work that way.
But then again, I'm sure it probably does have its following. Like, it's not for me, but I'm sure if my kids somehow discover the movie when they're of the right age, it may hit them the right way. So
Yeah, imagine at some point somebody's like to Kevin Smith, how could you make this? He's like, sorry, not sorry. But obviously Kevin Smith is getting a lot of flack right now, presently, because of Masters of the Universe Revelation, which I was literally watching right before we started filming. So
isn't it only like 4 episodes?
5. But yes,
So
it's 5.
what can people be so upset about? Like, if you take Pokemon, like one season of that's like 50 episodes. You look at a random 5 episodes, just let them do whatever they want. Like,
that's not how people feel, Frank. But so as somebody who has no emotional connection to He-Man or Masters of the Universe, because I've never watched any of it, watching this, I'm like, I'm enjoying this show. But like I was looking through like the user reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, it's like, this is the Last Jedi of He-Man. You ruined my childhood. Yeah, right? Well, it's funny because it has a 96% critics rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a quality show. It's just, I guess.
I watched the first episode and I liked it, and I had no clue that He-Man was like Shazam with a sword.
Me neither.
I didn't know that. Like, I went, oh wait, that little kid is He-Man. Like, oh, okay, now this makes a little more sense. But I still enjoyed it. Now, anyone that heard me say that, they're gonna be like, "Oh, you didn't know that? You have no right to have an opinion on this." But it's like, it's for people to discover a show. Now, maybe some kid is gonna watch these 5 episodes and be like, "Hey, I want to see where this came from," and then go back and get into the original. It's bringing in new audience.
I've been watching the new Turner and Hooch. Maybe I'm gonna go back and watch Tom Hanks movie.
This interview is over.
I was shocked to find out it's actually a sequel and not a reboot.
Okay, so Hanks might make an appearance then.
No.
Wait, wouldn't Hooch be dead by now?
So to give a little, so I don't think it's a spoiler to give away the setup of the show because you find this all out in the first episode. So Josh Peck is playing his son, and Tom Hanks had just passed away.
Oh, they're not even gonna try to get him.
No. So, and apparently Tom Hanks's character has had a couple of different hooches throughout the year. Like he's just kept getting new dogs.
Same name. I get it. Simple. Don't have to change out the dog dish.
Yep, exactly. Well, you know what's funny, Frank? I feel like that's what a lot of these shows are doing is if we keep doing the same things, we don't have to change out the dog dish. People just keep eating out of it. Oh my. But I'm enjoying Masters of the Universe, and I think it's really well directed. It's an intense, cool show. It just, I guess, if you have emotional baggage here, you might feel a little bit differently, but it is what it is.
I don't know about you, but as much as I love movies, there's nothing anyone can do to make me suddenly not like my childhood. Like,
Right? It's like you still have those things, just don't watch this one then.
yeah, like I'm not gonna go back and rewatch Rockadoodle.
It's like I didn't go, oh my god, Terminator Genesis ruined my childhood because they made John Connor the villain.
I just pretend that one doesn't exist. All the other ones are
Exactly.
perfectly fine.
Yeah. You could just be like, you know what? I'm not going to watch any of these movies past Judgment Day, and I'll be happy.
Hey, Terminator 3 has grown on me over the years. I always like Salvation. Dark Fate is great if you pretend Genesis doesn't exist. And it's even better if you watch T2 and then Dark Fate back to back.
I feel like it's at the point where it's just like you might need to watch every Terminator movie in a vacuum and just be like, you know what? Here we go. Except for the first two, I guess. And then if you just jump to Dark Fate, which is jumping 3 movies. My biggest thing with Rise of the Machines was it completely undercuts the whole entire themes of Judgment Day. I'm just like,
see, that's why I didn't like it.
yeah.
And then as I've grown older with my life, I go, you know what? Sometimes you're going to have a shitty ending, whether it be in life or in a movie. So
I feel like if you watch it from purely just like a fun action movie standpoint, there's fun action in it.
oh yeah, especially the crane chase scene.
Yep.
Like I can enjoy the movie. Like when it first came out, I felt bitter towards it. Like it offended me. Like it ruined my childhood. Oh,
Because like T2
I'm grown.
Judgment Day is celebrating its 30th anniversary this month. And I'm going to be writing an article about it for Scribe Magazine. So I'll be rewatching it this weekend. But like, that's a class. Like I have an endless battle with my friend Matt over what's the best sci-fi action movie, Judgment Day versus The Matrix. And we've been having the same argument on and off since 2014. So
I mean, technically, who's to say that the two franchises aren't connected?
biggest Matrix 4 turns out to be the return of James Cameron, who co-directs Matrix 4, which ties into Terminator.
There we go.
Oh my god, it's the greatest crossover, and because I don't even know who owns the rights to Terminator at this point. I'm not even going to be thinking about it. But Frank, so shifting gears to our next question, do you have any particular favorite actors or actresses?
So, like, I actually prepared for this show a little bit today, and I went, you know what? I'm going to go through my voodoo. I have over 500 movies in there.
Uh-huh.
Let's see what actor pops up the most. And, well, not the most, but like just scrolling through, looking at the covers. And for some reason, I must have a fascination with Tom Cruise that I didn't realize.
Okay.
I'm like, wow, I have a lot of Tom Cruise movies here.
Not a bad thing. He makes a lot of great movies.
I even have The Mummy. Why do I have The Mummy?
I wanted to love it.
Like, it had potential with what it was setting up with
Yep.
Hyde. But, yeah, they just had to forget about it. But, like, apparently, like, Tom Cruise is an actor. I apparently get all his movies.
It's because like obviously he had all those movies in the 80s that really made him a star, like Top Gun and like
Top Gun, I do have it, but I hate that one.
I'm not so I have a nostalgic love for the soundtrack of Top Gun.
All right, I'll give you that one.
The actual movie though, not really. But I am excited about Maverick because
I'm surprised he's still alive.
you know what? Well, he has to be alive at least until he makes it to space. and films
Yeah,
that movie in space.
like I guarantee you, one of the future like Mission Impossible is going to go to space because Fast and the Furious beat them to it. So Tom
Well,
Cruise is just going to literally go to space.
but this will actually be shot in space,
Like
unlike Fast and
for all we
Furious.
know, with that whole Bezos going up, secretly Tom Cruise was in the capsule too, filming a fight scene.
Well, the thing is, he is actually going to be going up and filming a movie in space. So that's the plan.
All
So
right.
the power of Scientology gives him everlasting life, apparently.
Like 20 years from now, he's going to be the first actor on the moon filming a scene.
Exactly. And he's still going to look great. And he's going to be like 70 something.
And he's still going to have that tooth in the center.
Yeah. It's
All that money can't fix them teeth.
no, nope, never. But I'm such a huge fan of the Mission Possible movies, and Fallout's one of the best action films of the whole, like of the 21st century. That Fury Road, like John Wick, like that's like upper class. These are incredible action movies that make me mad watching other action movies. Just be like, why can't you be as good?
Fallout has my favorite action movie moment that will never be topped. And it's when what's his face? When Superman's in the bathroom and he cocks his arms like he has to reload the fight. Like
because he's a robot. he's a Henry Cavill should be cast as a Terminator.
Oh, absolutely.
Just look at him. like watching Man of Steel when he like comes out of the water and he doesn't have a shirt on and everything. It's just like, yep, that's Terminator. Are there any dogs around here? They should be barking very loudly right now. But it's interesting because like I know Letterboxd, like at the end of last year, like you get like summation statistics.
Yeah.
And it has like the actor that you've watched the most in like the past year. It had the strangest thing with mine. So I must have watched a lot of documentaries about like real life politics because apparently the most common actor was Donald Trump.
Oh, jeez.
In 2020. And I'm like, how many documentaries did I watch this year?
You just got drunk one night and watched Home Alone 2 like 8 times back to back.
I keep putting like Home Alone 2, Home Alone 2.
But yeah, also in my voodoo, I noticed like I have a lot of Ben Affleck too. Like, I don't know, like it's hard for me to say who's a favorite. I like what I like.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just like you don't realize. It's like, well, I actually like watching them a lot and have a lot of their movies.
Yeah.
Now, Frank, what's a movie that you could literally watch every day?
Well, I might have said that a little bit earlier with Back to the Future.
Yep.
But Back to the Future, Endgame.
Take you on a fields trip every day.
Yeah, it does. Even though it's not a movie, I can watch Inside every day. I listen
That's a
to
good
it.
question. Is it a movie? I don't know.
It played in theaters for one night.
That's better than most Netflix movies. So, I've heard amazing things about it. I haven't like pushed myself to watch it because like I don't really watch comedy specials and stuff like that. But from what I can tell, this is different.
It is, and like the movie, or not the movie, but Inside the special itself has really like kicked my creativity into like a higher gear than normal. Like it's really motivated me. It's really motivated me to do a lot of things recently. So like I don't know, something about it just hit me the right way.
And it's like, because I was listening to the podcast with Robert and Aaron on this week, and they did their top 5 films of 2021 so far. Both of them had Inside in their top fives. I'm just like, damn, people really love this special. I should probably watch this at some point. And like literally my only experience with Bo Burnham is 8th grade, him directing it, and then Promising Young Woman, which he was in. Because
Uh,
like I didn't even know who Bo Burnham was when 8th grade came out. I'm like, they're making a big deal about this guy making a movie. Who is this? Kind of thing. But like, good for him. He's like, I'm pretty sure like the average cinephile has probably watched Inside like 20 times since that thing dropped.
Probably, yeah.
So, but Back to the Future is always a great choice, and I would watch Endgame every day if I could afford.
I would if I had the time.
If I could afford to spend 3 hours every day watching that, totally would.
It's weird, even though it's 3 hours longer, it still felt shorter than the new Space Jam.
Oh, no. Oh, why? First off, why was that movie 2 hours?
I don't know. Like,
The first one's barely 90 minutes.
yeah, like I had to go back. I looked, like it's barely 90, and then like even like the second one, they get to the basketball game at the 55-minute mark.
Right? Yeah, I think it was like an hour 5, hour 10. I'm like, wait a minute. There's almost a whole hour left in this movie. And the game made no sense. I'm like, how am I supposed to feel like the tension of watching a sporting event when the rules don't make sense?
Yeah, and like I don't know. I feel like they should have gave me the script and just let me rework because if they had an algorithm, I would have just made the whole storyline about the algorithm trying to do a remake of Space Jam.
I'm pretty sure an algorithm wrote this movie.
Yeah.
And like I say, it's like a lot of people are like, it was really cool looking at all the cameos in the background. I'm like, if the most exciting thing for you watching this movie is picking out things in the background, then you don't like the movie because you're not paying attention to it.
Look, and I absolutely, there's one thing in the background that stands out, and it's the mask.
Yeah.
And I hate whoever played him with a passion because he's doing like the same stupid motion over and over again. And it looked so out of place, fake as hell.
I
And like,
100% that was just recycled. Like it
yeah,
had
like,
oh my god. But
and
no.
the green face and the yellow suit stands out so much you can't help but notice it.
Exactly. Oh man. Why? Why?
Never watching that movie again.
No. Now, Frank, what's a movie that really connects with you because it connects with another interest of yours?
Okay, like connecting with another interest. I'm gonna have to go with Inside.
Okay.
Only because like watching that, I'm also looking at from the point of view like how did he make this?
Mm-hmm.
And like I pretty much in my own head kind of like pieced together how he went about making it because I don't want to ruin a lot of illusions that people have. He's not really in his house. It's his work studio in his backyard. He's not actually living out there. It's still, stuff is staged, but
Mm-hmm.
it's still creative as hell. And like I said, it like hits me like to like a filmmaker's standpoint of like how I want to make things.
Are you saying a movie's fake?
Well, it's not like here's the thing about comedy and stand-ups.
Mm-hmm.
They'll go on stage and they'll tell you these stories, like what happened when they went to the grocery store last week. They didn't. It's a lie.
It's all fabricated.
Every city that you see them at, that's always going to be their favorite city to do stand up at, and then they're going to insult the last city they were just at.
And hopefully not mix them up.
Yeah. Now, another movie that like I connected to very emotionally was The Big Sick when that came out.
Okay.
Because when my wife had our youngest daughter, I almost lost both of them. And holy, living in the hospital, going through that sort of like trauma, like that movie just hit me in a way no other film has before.
Hmm.
So I know I'm going off a little off the top of your question, but I connected emotionally the most to that movie.
That's it, and that's it's something special when you watch a movie and you can connect that personally to it. And like I remember trying to think of one where it hit me like that was when I was watching Marriage Story, which I got to see in a theater. I got out of the theater like I called my now fiance. I'm just like having some feelings and like having divorced parents and just be like, nope. And like the situation I grew up in, I'm just like, nope. This movie hits way too close to home. And it's just like having that connection is something special. Um, Now, Frank, who's a movie character that you feel like you connect with on a personal level?
Connect to on a personal level. Oh, this is a tough one. Mostly because I don't think I read this question on the list. Oh, I think I accidentally answered this a little early with Big Sick.
Hmm.
Because, like I said, that movie hit me emotionally the most. And even then, like Kumar,
Kumail Nanjiani.
Kumail,
Yeah.
yeah, I can never say his name. I apologize if he's a fan of the show.
Oh, I
But
wish he was a fan of the show.
but like I connected with that character also because I don't know what you know about my background, but like I do have aspirations of making movies
Mhm.
and kind of like his character has aspirations of being a comedian and then going through this family event, this tragedy, going through all that. Same with me and my wife. Like I have wife and kids, and that does play a lot into like where you want to go career wise. So just yeah, that I connect the most with his character in that movie.
Now, the question is, do you have a father-in-law who makes really weird comments and makes it really uncomfortable and looks like Ray Romano?
I wish. Um, my father-in-law, he lives in New Jersey, so that you should know all about that.
Because it depends on what part of New Jersey.
I feel like I've been with my wife for 15 or 17 years, however you want to look at it. Married for
Mhm.
a year now, and my father-in-law, I've only seen maybe I don't know, like when she was pregnant with the first, we stayed a weekend at their house, and I didn't want to see him like twice since. So, yeah,
So, but I remember seeing The Big Sick, and that really hit, and that was such a great film. It was really unexpected.
yeah,
And
I had tears in that one. Not happy tears either. Just
yeah. And look, now Kumail is he's an eternal and buff as hell.
I need to get on the Marvel diet. They need to cast me in anything.
Just get me in the shape.
Yeah, like I don't care if all I gotta do is just walk in the background. You give me, put me up to that Marvel plan. I think it's more for money that motivates you.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you give me this money, I don't have to work, and I just hide away for a year, and
Work out.
yeah,
Yeah,
I can do that. If I don't have to worry about bills, yeah, I can do that.
exactly. That's why actors are in such great shape. They're so rich. They could just work out all the time. But
And that's
now,
not to like belittle them as to saying, oh, they don't have a craft they have to deal with, but having 8 hours every day to where you don't have to give it to someone else kind of helps out a lot.
yeah. Now, what's a film that you love that you think would surprise people?
All right. I always call this one my guilty pleasure movie because
Okay.
I loved it the second I saw it, but they don't want to tell anyone about it. And it's Crazy Stupid Love.
I also love Crazy Stupid Love.
To me, there's nothing wrong with loving that movie. Everyone should. It's great. But
Uh,
people that
David Lindhagen cuckolded me. Made a cuckold of me.
But okay, hold on.
Oh, David Lindhagen? Yeah. Oh,
That whole movie just built up to that one scene, and
yeah.
I love it.
So I have a personal connection to one scene in that movie. So I have size 15 quadruple E shoes. It's hard to find shoes, and New Balance has always been an easy place to get shoes. And then when Steve Carell walks up to Ryan Gosling and he's just like, "What are these? What are you wearing the New Balance for? Are you in a fraternity?" And he literally chucks them off the balcony of the mall. I'm like, no, those are good shoes. And they're high quality shoes because, fun fact, they're the only sneakers still made in America.
Ah,
They're made
and
in
I agree with you. They
Massachusetts.
are of high quality,
Mm-hmm.
and they should hear this, and they should fund this.
Yes. Yes. You all should go out and buy New Balance. It is a wonderful shoe. And for those with large feet, they come in extra, 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 extra wide. So where's my money? Okay.
I think you and I might be wearing the same shoe size.
But I could throw on Crazy Stupid Love and just enjoy every second of it. Like
I might watch it after this.
the only thing that like has aged oddly is like the whole thing with like his son and the babysitter. It's a little weird. And she's like 18 and she gave this kid basically pornography. And it's just like
Well, come on. He has Wi-Fi. He's already.
he could see much worse at the click of a button. So, but it has such a great cast. Just everybody in it's great. Even like the small role, like Kevin Bacon. Like, as somebody with a master's in accounting who decided to not go into accounting, when he's like, I'm an accountant. Not a whole lot of things make me want to get up in the morning. I'm just like, oh my God. Just like, there's so many jokes in that movie that just hit on a different level for me. And Steve Carell is so sad. But then, and this was before he became like middle aged, foxy Steve Carell with like the salt and pepper, everything. And everyone's like, Steve Carell. And when they like dress him up, I'm like, damn, look at Steve Carell. And I just want all of Ryan Gosling's outfits. Like, I'll rock all of them. Oh, Jacob. Uh, but now, Frank, my last question for you is, what do you love most about movies?
What I love most about movies is their way to connect to people in different ways. How it's an endless supply of movies, so everyone, like you ask these questions to, are going to have different answers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the power of movies. It's an escape for a few hours, and a lot of times that's what people need. And like I have personal connections with all different kinds of movies for various reasons, and even a lot of it can just be a movie triggering memories. Like everyone has like first dates they went out on, even with like people that may be exes now, but
Yep. Still remember them.
you'd still look at a movie and be like, wow, I have to hate this movie now because I saw it with that person. And then 10 years later, you finally forget the pain and go back and watch it, and it turns out Bruce Almighty really wasn't that bad.
You just wipe that clean. It's like it has an
We're gonna
expiration
find a
date,
new
but it's a good and so it's like that's always a wonderful thing having those connections. Now, Frank, how I like to wrap up the show is that I have my guest ask me a question. So, Frank, what question would you like to ask the Wasteland Reviewer?
I have the power here.
Yes, you do.
What is a movie that you saw the first time and loved it, but then upon repeated viewings have grown to hate it?
So, I'm going to give two different answers because one is like I watched this when I was younger kind of thing. And like over like two movies that I used to watch a lot in like even middle school high school was Delta Farce
Oh God.
because I used to watch Blue Collar Comedy Tour all the time growing up, all the time. And I can't even tell you how many times I've watched Delta Farce. And now I'm just like, no, I can't watch that. I
That's
can't.
fair.
I can't. And I put Paul Blart up there as well because I used to watch that a lot. And I'm in worse shape now because of COVID. But like I used to be a big kid growing up, and I related with Paul Blart. And I'm just like, you know what? I really enjoyed this movie. Now I'm just like, sorry, Kevin James, I can't. I can't. But as an adult, I feel like a movie that I watched in the theater and loved it, and now I watch it, I'm just like, ugh, is Prometheus. I remember sitting in the theater watching that and just being mind blown away by that movie. I'm like, this was amazing. And then every time you watch it afterwards, you're just like, but they had the map. How did they get lost? Wait, he's a zoologist. Why would he go up to a random creature that he's never met before and start playing with it? But why this? But wait a minute. And it just starts like unraveling with a lot of questions of like, there's a lot of plot holes here. Like, I still like Prometheus more than most people because I know some people absolutely hate that movie. But like, I'm just like, yeah, the script wasn't as good as I remembered the first time I watched this. But because like, and it's that interesting thing because there's definitely times where I've watched a movie and hated it and then gone back and watched it again. And sometimes you just have like a knee jerk reaction to something. And you're just like, I remember watching Iron Man 3 for the first time and not being okay with the twist in it and just being like, and now I could watch it and think it's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, it's weird. Like that movie, I personally took it as offensive to me. Not because of the Mandarin twist. I didn't like. I kind of do mind a little bit. Not because I want to be like, oh, they ruined the character. It's that I blame marketing because of how well they marketed that character and how well Ben Kingsley was as this menacing person. Just for them to yank the rug out still kind of hurts. Like
It's
he
just
was
like,
perfect as the Mandarin. Like
I'm like, he was a great character, and then he turned out to be a fake character.
yeah, like I want more of Ben Kingsley being that menacing. Like
And then, but we get Trevor Slattery, which Ben Kingsley's really funny.
yeah, like I kind of wish they would bring that character back. They made it a way that they can do it. Like you saw the short film on the Iron Man 3 Bailey, right?
So
Like,
that was the only reason why I got the Blu-ray of Thor: The Dark World
oh,
was to get All Hail the King. Only reason.
I felt like that. I kind of feel like the short was a cop out as a way for them to say that the Mandarin is still out there. He's real.
And he is, because we're getting him in Shang-Chi.
Well, we are.
Yeah, he's the main villain.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, he's
Will it,
Shang-Chi's father.
so it's not Ben Kingsley.
No. I will. So everybody flipped out when the Abomination popped up in one of the Shang-Chi trailers.
I'm happy about it.
I want to see like in the back of like his office is just Trevor Slattery like chained up.
Or if maybe like because he's an actor, right? So
Yep.
maybe a movie poster with like Slattery on it.
Or
Like
like,
he's just a huge fan.
or he has him just doing like performances. Like he's
He's
Ben
the Abomination Wrangler.
he's Ben Stiller from Tropic Thunder. They have him just like on an endless loop of performing his movies. Oh man, that would be a twist. If that actually happened in Shang-Chi, I would lose it. But that was a good.
But I've grown to appreciate Iron Man 3
Mhm.
just because now that we're so far removed from it, when you look at all the Marvel movies, it's just a fun little side adventure movie.
It's a Shane Black movie through and through.
Yeah,
And
it's Lethal Weapon 2.
except we didn't get anybody to like Rhodey didn't be like just been revoked. And we didn't have South Africans being like diplomatic immunity. I'm a huge Lethal Weapon fan. So, oh man.
You saw the parallel between the two movies off the bat then.
Well, to be fair, there's a lot of parallels in a lot of Shane Black scripts.
That is
Like
fair.
he very much plays off of in most of his scripts the whole buddy cop dynamic. Because like obviously Lethal Weapon was perfect. Like that was the prototypical buddy cop. And then you have Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which does the whole like odd couple thing. And then just talk to Aaron about the Nice Guys. So, and if you haven't seen the Nice Guys, what's wrong with you? You're wrong with like everybody else that made that not make enough movies so we could get a sequel. But you all went to go see Peter.
Guys.
But I would love to see a Nice Guys too. Ryan Gosling, Russell Crowe were perfect. So perfect. But
I'd watch it.
yeah. More people had to watch it because now we're not getting it because it didn't make money.
You can't. We're like they just announced a Waterworld TV series. It's never too late.
Exactly. No, you know what? We're gonna get an HBO Max series, The Other Guy's Agency, and The Nice Guy's Agency. And
Well, let's send them an email. Let's get the ball rolling here.
get Aaron to send an email.
Yeah.
Get a whole everybody from SiftPop has to write an email and send it to Warner Brothers. Just be like, we want this to happen. But anyway, so all we have for the show today, Frank. I appreciate you coming on.
I'm glad to be here.
Frank, would you like to shamelessly plug any of things like where you write and stuff like that?
Well, I write occasionally I write on this little website called SiftPop. Have you heard of it?
I think so.
Occasionally I write on OnlyFans as well. I gotta stop with that joke.
Oh my. This is the After Hours show on Lost.
Nothing wrong with OnlyFans. Like, you can have it for non-adult reasons. I hope people know that.
The advertising pushes it that way.
Personally, I think OnlyFans is a better format than Patreon.
There you go. I don't know.
I feel bad for the people that created OnlyFans just because now people just associate it with the adult industry so much. But at the same time, they should have known that's where it was going to go.
Yeah.
If you don't kick people out for nudity off the bat, it's going to grow.
Yeah. It's like, I just wanted to do my workouts on here and sell some content. It's just like, that's not the kind of things that they want to see on there.
You know what I recently found out on YouTube, though?
Mm-hmm.
I just scroll through memes, and this is how I learned about it. And I didn't realize it was a thing. I don't know how YouTube allows it. But completely nude workouts is all over there. Like, it's just people doing exercises naked. And it's allowed because it's considered educational.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I guess as if you want to post nude things on YouTube, you just need to do a workout during it.
Yep, and tag it as educational.
There we go. All the fun loopholes you can find here on the internet and on YouTube. But Frank, thank you so much for coming on the show. And
I can plug my Twitter at
yes,
Frank Kemp3. That's all I got going with my life.
and it's plenty because you'll have a lot of fun following Frank's stuff. So it's always a pleasure seeing his writings coming out on the best ever challenges every week. So, but Frank, thank you so much for coming on. And thank all of you out there for tuning in and always supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.